Well, welcome everybody. Welcome to Dance at Middlesex University. My name is April Brown and I'm a lecturer in dance practices at Middlesex University.
Hi everyone, welcome. I'm Bryony Cooper and I'm an associate lecturer in dance technique here at Middlesex University.
Great, and together myself and Bryony lead the first year module and we're here to talk you through our dance programmes, what to expect if you were to study with us, and give you some insights into the student work and opportunities that are on offer as part of our dance programmes. There we go. Okay, so we're really proud of the provision that we have at Middlesex. We offer really high quality dance technique training that's underpinned by theoretical dance practices and with a constant focus to employability and the wider industry. So over the course of this presentation, we're going to talk you through some highlights and also give you an insight into the work and opportunities that are on offer. Before we talk at you for a little bit of time, we're going to show you a short film that captures some of the activities and training that's a key part of our provision. Hopefully that gives you a bit of an insight into the practices that goes on across the programme and brings to life some of the things that we're going to speak to you about over the next course of this 20.
So we have 3 different entry points onto our dance undergraduate programs here at Middlesex. Firstly, we offer a foundation year in performing arts, and essentially this is a route onto either the dance, music or theatre arts degree programs. So the foundation year is designed for students who perhaps have not yet met the entry requirements to enter at full degree level, or similarly for students who might just feel like they're not quite ready for the BA degree courses yet. So the one-year foundation programme will really closely support students in developing their practical and academic skills, along with the confidence to enter onto the performing arts degree courses, hopefully within the following year. We then have our BA Dance Performance Degree programme, which over the duration of the 3 years will allow you to intensively engage with the skills of dance performance. So this encompasses dance technique, safe dance practice, directed performance, so that's the learning of repertoire, creative performance processes, and also innovating choreography. So the performance programme really allows students to do this through expert guidance in a range of different dance techniques, open classes, rehearsals, workshops, and also collaborative projects. Theoretical modules also run alongside the performance and creative components on the BA Dance programme, and these are taught for the purpose of really nurturing and developing your academic skills in areas such as dance analysis, critical thinking, and also understanding of safe dance practice. We also then have the BA Dance Practices programme, and this has been designed to help students draw out their passions and interests in the field of dance a little more broadly. So you might already have tentative interest, for example, in dance science or dance education, choreography or dance writing. So the Dance Practices programme will help you to gain an in-depth knowledge of the different strands of dance, and also the transferable skills that will allow you to pursue diverse careers in the dance sector and wider industry. So the Dance Practices course is more individualised and offers students a bit more flexibility to tailor the final year of study to your own individual strengths and interests. So the Practices programme offers 2 distinct exit awards, one in choreography and the other in dance science. So it really allows in-depth study in specific areas that take students' interests. So regardless of what programme you might enter on as a first year student, whether that be practices or performance, the content for the first 2 years will be the same. And then through support and guidance from your personal tutor, you'll then confirm at the end of year 2 which pathway you would like to choose and follow for year 3. So that's a bit about our programmes in a nutshell. So both of our undergraduate dance programmes offer students the opportunity to engage with a range of dance technique training throughout the 3 years of study. So in year 1, we typically offer ballet, urban, and improvisation as threads that run usually year long. And then we also offer contemporary dance techniques, and they're studied usually in intensive training blocks of about 5 weeks alongside those threads. In year 2, you'll then usually be able to study all of the techniques at a much deeper level alongside one another. And this really allows you as students to recognise the diversity of the training, but also the interrelated principles and crossovers between the different techniques. Year 3 then is when you have a bit more flexibility and you can tailor your dance technique training to, again, your own strengths and interests in terms of the different styles that you want to take through to assessment level at year 3. So the techniques we offer range from ballet, urban, so hip hop, locking, popping, break dance, street dance, to name a few. We then offer release and the more somatic based practices. We have the pioneering modern dance techniques or contemporary dance techniques, including Cunningham based practice, Humphrey based practice, and we're the only institution in the UK that offers Humphrey training. And we also offer Graham Cohen technique training also, and improvisation. So a really wide variety of styles that will help you to develop your skills and versatility as a dance artist. So you'll also study a variety of theoretical components that aim to underpin your technical training and practice-based learning. So for example, you'll be taught anatomy straight from year 1, which aims to develop your understanding of the features of anatomy and physiology in relation to your own dancing body. So you'll learn about anatomy in your lecture-based classes, but you'll also have practice-based sessions in experiential anatomy, so that's learning through doing in the studio. You'll have strength and conditioning, and also fitness for dance, and they'll run alongside your technique training too. You'll then be able to follow this thread into your second year of study, where you'll have dance science. And dance science really will look at the moving body in much more detail. So it will enable you to enhance your physical practice and performance. And you'll also be introduced to postural analysis, nutrition, psychology, and the effects of those things on our performance and well-being as dancers. In year 3, you then have the option to study teaching safe dance practice, which will expand on your knowledge of anatomy again, but this time in relation to, or from a teaching perspective. So those of you that might have aspirations to be teachers, this is a popular module. And here you'll look at even more depth at the principles of correct functional movement, being able to recognise movement dysfunction and the appropriate measures for correcting that, and also injury and injury prevention. If you want to, you then have the opportunities to be supported to do a dance science-based research project. So if you're on the dance practices programme and have opted for the Dance Science Exit Award, you can also do a dance science-based research project.
So collaboration is also a really important part of your training at Middlesex University. Something that is really wonderful about being a campus university is that as a student you have access to lots of different disciplines and creative industries essentially. So throughout your 3 years you have the opportunity to work with students who are training in different subject areas, and also collaborate with artists and professional bodies outside of the university as well. In your first year, this is very much a project-based experience, so you get the chance to work with interior design students and architecture. You'll learn how to work with film and editing equipment. In your second year, you'll look at making for site. You'll work with live musicians, and you'll also have industry workshops where different artists and practitioners are coming in and speaking to you about their processes and how that can be transferable in your practice as an emerging dancer. In your third year, if you choose to take the Exit Award on choreography, then you have the opportunity to work with different artistic disciplines outside of the university, such as Wimbledon College of Arts and Design or Chelsea College of Arts have been previous collaborators. And here you're really able to develop your skills as a choreographer and how you can communicate your practice to others outside of your field as well. And that skill of being able to communicate and being able to talk about your practice is really important, and something that we look at as part of our applied professional practices strand, which essentially is developing your skills as kind of an employee or as an emerging artist into the industry. As we know, things are changing constantly, and it's really important that as artists that we're able to adapt and able to see the value that we have and able to communicate and package that and understand what we can contribute to our industry. So throughout your 3 years, right from when you arrive in your first year, we're very much looking to develop your understanding of the wider dance landscape, the opportunities that are available to you, and also starting to think about yourself as an artist, as an entrepreneur, so that you're able to think about developing a portfolio of skills and start to think about where you'd like to enter into on graduation.
So much like anatomy, you'll also be introduced to dance history as a first year student. So this aims to support your knowledge and contextual understanding of the various techniques, practices and practitioners that you will look at and study in the studio. So you'll also start to build on your skills in movement and performance analysis, and also in dance criticism. In your second year, you'll take the foundations of what you've learned in dance history in year 1 and build upon this to develop theoretical and analytical frameworks for analysing dance and interrogating dance practices and dance works. You'll also look at the relationship between cultural and theoretical concepts within dance and the different approaches to this. In year 3, you then have the option to study dance journalism or dance criticism. in greater depth, and also in relation to the possible career opportunities that there are within this strand in the dance sector. So if dance writing is an area that interests you, you can develop those skills in through supported practice-based experiences within APP, as April just mentioned. So the theoretical components, really run as threads throughout your 3 years. So you're introduced to them as first year dancers, where you'll start to build the foundations of knowledge. And then by year 3, you will have hopefully acquired a plethora of knowledge and academic skill to make those areas your specialism if you choose to.
And choreography is, again, a strand that runs throughout, the same as technique, theory and anatomy, as we've discussed. In your first year, you're learning about making practices through being led by a professional choreographer. So you have an artist that comes in and works with you. You work in small creation companies to devise and make a new performance work that you present to an audience. Then in the second part of your first year, you get the chance to make your own work. You develop a portfolio that captures the process, and then you present your own choreography with as many dancers as you want in whatever mode that you would like to as well. As you move into your second year, we have a festival of work that is presented in the spring. Here you will make a new piece of choreography where you'll be working with your peers. And you're really thinking about that entrepreneurial aspect of making, where you're looking at marketing, managing the process, making a new choreography and performing it as part of a festival. In your third year, I've mentioned this a little bit already, but you have the chance to either exit on choreography, where you'll have 2 core modules that will be focused on you as a choreographer. Or as Bryony mentioned earlier, if you chose the practices out exit award and you wanted more of a portfolio of options, then you could choose one of the choreography modules, and you could also pick perhaps a performance module if you want to combine 2 different types of practices as part of your final year of your degree. I've realised here that between our technique slide and this theory slide that perhaps we've failed to mention kind of the performance opportunities as part of the programme, but throughout your 3 years you have multiple opportunities to perform. So as we said in year 1, you have your performance outcome. In your second year you have the festival, along with a number of other opportunities that come up with external practitioners. And then in your third year you have, on the performance exit route, you will be part of a new work process where you're working with a professional choreographer that's coming in and making on you, and you'll also have the chance to embody an existing piece of repertoire, as Bryony mentioned earlier on, and you'll perform that as well as part of your exit award. I just didn't want that to fall through the net. So we've done quite a bit of talking. We now have a short film that we'd like to share with you that was created by our 2020 class of 2020. You may have seen it if you follow us on social media. Unfortunately, our students weren't able to present their work in the way that we would have liked them to due to COVID in the spring. So they came together in true kind of MDX dance entrepreneurial fashion and created their own virtual performance piece. They created, filmed, edited, choreographed, performed as a cohort, and this was the outcome. We thought it was quite a nice opportunity to share and a moment of pause really in this presentation. So I'm going to go to that now, and it's called Under the Same Sky. Okay, it's a lovely moment of pause. We would recommend you visiting the Middlesex University Creative Graduates website that was created. Sorry, I'm trying to skip slide and stop the film at the same time. There we go. So we'll pop it in the UniBuddy chat, but the Creative Graduates website was created to celebrate our class of 2020 at Middlesex University, and a lot of the dancers that you saw performing in that work have created profiles, and you can have a look at the experiences they had at Middlesex, and they're also linking, I think, to external projects and headline kind of what they're up to now. So we'll pop that in the UniBuddy chat room so you can access that after seeing the film. Okay, so just some final headlines then to summarise. That across your 3 years of study, you will be exposed to a wide range of working practices, methodologies, voices from across the dance field and beyond. We very much are focusing on preparing you for a lifelong career in dance, and Bryony mentioned the different entry points into dance at Middlesex, but something to kind of stress is that regardless of where you enter into on arrival, everybody has the same experiences for the first 2 years, and then at the end of your second year, that's when you make the choice to specialise and kind of really define that final year of study. We do that on purpose so that you can experience multiple ways of working, you can really be exposed to the industry, develop your skills, find your strengths, understand the areas that you really want to delve into deeper and run with, and then at the end of that second year you can make an informed choice as to where you'd like to specialise. Okay. We'll say as well, if you aren't already, follow us on Instagram and the other social platforms at MDX Uni Dance. We're constantly sharing what our students are up to. Quite a common question is, what do your students do after graduation? They do loads of things in lots of different places. They're very successful. We're really proud of them. And particularly this cohort are extraordinarily resilient. And they're doing incredibly well in a very difficult time. So do follow us on Instagram, and you can see we've got a live story that we've shared on our Instagram page, where you can have a look at all the different 2020 graduates and where they're being employed and working at the moment. Okay, so I think Nicola, sorry, my apologies. Have we got any questions now after the presentation? If anyone would like to drop their questions in the chat.
We don't currently have any questions, but yeah, the question and answer button's at the bottom of your screen if you have any questions that you'd like to ask April or Bryony.
I won't be able to see them because I'm screen sharing, so if someone can read them.
We have one question from Maya. She's asked, what is the audition process like?
Okay. So I think Bryony's outlined this on UniBuddy already as well. So this year we're auditioning via portfolios, so kind of show reels. You'll apply via UCAS. Admissions will then ask you to share a short 3-minute video of you dancing with us. We'll review your show reel and give you a decision. As you have a reply to your show reel, you'll also, if you're successful and we give you kind of an offer, then you'll be invited to a Zoom talk, which will be about an hour and a half, where you will have the chance to have a more in-depth talk about the programs. We'll go into each module specifically, and you'll also get a chance to speak with our current students as well. So we're not doing kind of talked on campus auditions this year, just so that we're safe for everybody, and you'll be sending in a 3-minute show pre-recorded film for us to review your dancing that way. Does that answer that question?
Yep, thanks, April. We have another question from Amy. What is the assessment weighting with regards to theory and practical?
So this one came up in the UniBuddy chat as well, and there's not an even split between practice and theory. We say that everything that you learn and explore practically in terms of your technique and creativity will always be underpinned by theoretical learning as well. And that's the same when it comes to assessments. Depending on what pathway you pick and what track you're on, you'll perhaps do a little bit more practical if you're on the performance track. But there's not an even split, we'd say. Everything that you learn technically is underpinned with the relevant theoretical teaching. Does that answer the question?
Thanks, Bryony. If anyone else has any other questions, feel free to ask on the question answer button. Yeah. Essel's asked, is the final grade based on dissertation only?
Okay, so your final degree classification is a calculation based on your second and your third year. Depending on your exit route, as Bryony said, you will choose essentially the 4 modules that you would like to take in your final year. Depending on the choices that you make, that is kind of the type of assessment that you will have. So if you're on performance, predominantly the majority of your assessment will be based on your dancing, in technique or in performance. If you chose a more theoretical pathway, so if you're really interested in and passionate about writing, then you could take the dissertation module, which is like an extended research essay. And then in that respect, that would equate to kind of a proportion of your degree classification. But essentially you have the flexibility and ownership to decide how you would like to specialise and where you would like to place weight on that final degree, whether it be your practical dancing, your creative making, it might be your academic writing, scholarly research, dance science, teaching, you can choose essentially.
Sorry, go on.
That's okay.
We have another question. By when do we have to send in our UCAS applications for our auditions?
So we're open. I think you should be able to start applying to UCAS very soon. And the cycle is kind of lasts. We've still been accepting people, haven't we, Bryony? Recently, we've had a couple of new starters join us this academic year. So we have closed for entry for the 2020 programme, but I would recommend you apply as soon as you can, really, and that way you can, as soon as you register your interest in our dance programmes, you will get communications from the dance department and also from the university, and we can share with you tips and give you lots of information so you're prepared for the course that you choose. I believe you can continue applying right up until kind of September next year, but we would recommend that you get that application in as soon as you feel ready to.
We have a question from Stian. How often will we be in the practical lessons due to COVID?
So you'll still have, we have been offering practical classes every day. Because of the restrictions, they're not always on campus. So currently, with the restrictions that we've had, Year 1 have 1 campus day, and that means they have 2 or 3 technique classes and workshops, creative classes on that Tuesday, but they're still given technique classes and other creative practical workshops every day of the week, except from a Friday. We give them a Friday off. But yeah, Monday to Thursday, there's still technique classes. It's just the Tuesday is an on-campus day only. But we're following guidelines, so it depends where we are at which point in the year, but we'll try and offer as many practical classes as we can.
And Maya's asked, what are the practical classes like? Is it equal, or is one style the main one?
So, do you want to go, Bryony?
No, it's fine, you carry
on. Across, hopefully you saw on the technique slides that Bryony was talking to, we welcome students from a range of dance backgrounds. There is a focus very much on developing kind of the versatile entrepreneurial dancer, as we said before. So we're purposefully training you in a cross-section of dance technique practices. You'll do improvisation, urban dance practices, contemporary dance, release and sympathetic-based practices, ballet, and then obviously choreography and kind of creative composition. So don't feel concerned if you haven't had formal dance training or if you've trained in a very specific dance style. We're looking in the audition for alignment, musicality, and kind of fundamental kind of dance trainable traits, essentially, and that it's our job as your tutors to develop your skills and introduce you to lots of different dance forms.
And lots of our students come from very diverse training backgrounds, so everyone is very different, and that's what we like.
And we have a final question. Is there an age limit for these free courses? Because many universities actually have an age limit of 21 years, if I'm not mistaken, and I'll be 23 by the time the program begins.
Absolutely not. No, we welcome anyone of any age, so apply. We'll be happy to take you.
That sounds great. So I'd just like to say thank you everyone for joining us. That's all the time we have today. If you would like to ask any more further questions and continue your conversation, please feel free to head over to the live chat on Unibuddy. And finally, thank you so much to April and Bryony today for your time. And thank you everyone for joining.
Great, thank you so much for your questions.